You know, we often hear it said that it takes a lot of effort to research the adversary, going high up in the pyramid of pain, if you will, in terms of understanding attacker tactics and practices. And that may be especially true when researching attacks for attribution or understanding the identity and motivation of the attacker. But when it comes to how your organization is being targeted, there is good news. You actually have a lot of the evidence available of attack activity in your own environment if you know how and where to look for it. Recently, 451 Research, in cooperation with Arbor Networks, interviewed investigators and practitioners to see if we could help organizations uncover common themes that would help focus these kinds of efforts. And one of the first things that we saw in this research is that very few campaigns start from scratch. Attackers have a tendency to share and reuse their tactics, techniques, and procedures. And you know, the answer is fairly obvious. Get the most bang for the buck, if you will. Get the most benefit out of the effort of investment. Because why would you reinvent a tactic if it's successful and it keeps working? And if it keeps working, you can bet that they'll keep using it, you'll keep seeing it. Adversaries even have detailed manuals, IT support services, ad tech experts, graphic designers, a full range of professionals available for building a successful attack campaign. They compile, share, and hand down instructions, manuals, and intelligence. And this leads to a lot of common information that can be detected in any IT environment. So we'll look at 4 phases of a campaign. And in each of those phases, we'll see some commonalities as well as some specific things organizations can do if they put themselves in the adversary's shoes and think like the attacker. Let's start with external reconnaissance. Attackers will typically look for any openly available information that gives them insight into the target's exploitable exposures. But as a defender, you should know that you can do this too. There are many publicly available resources that can show you just how exposed your organization really is, from services dedicated to this purpose to show you ways that your systems can be reached directly from the internet, to what you can learn from social media and even search engines. At the penetration stage, if you think about the leapfrog nature of prevention, you have to realize that once a preventive measure is in place, attackers must get around it to continue to succeed, and they will continue to do so. But if you're aware of that activity, you do have an edge in terms of what you're looking for. And in particular, you should pay attention to legitimate business functionality. How are your business apps being targeted? Do you really need a fully functional Java installation for your business? Or can you reduce that and reduce your attack surface accordingly? Once they've penetrated, many attackers also take advantage of legitimate IT administration tools because that's where they learn their skills in many cases. Today's management tools can be just as useful to adversaries as they are to the enterprise. So, do you know how your legitimate IT administration and management tools are being used and by whom? If you're not tracking that, you might want to look into that. After penetration, attackers try to establish communications with the outside in order to maintain command and control over compromised systems. So be looking not only for anomalous activity, but you might also want to consider suspicious communications within legitimate protocols, legitimate channels. We see HTTP, HTTPS used a lot, but also WebDAV and even ICMP and DNS. So the rule of thumb in this case is, does a service communicate content point to point? And can that content, even if it's unusual, be parsed at the receive end? That should broaden your search for what might be used as a covert command and control channel. So what to do different? You already have much of the information that you need to see this sort of evidence in your systems already. So if you apply what-if scenarios that apply thinking that the attacker would use, where do you go to look for that data? As you answer that question, you should take a look at your tools as well too. Can they correlate data from endpoints with network activity, content, information that can be gathered from your sensitive information repositories? If you can put that information together and build these kind of stories, that's the kind of tools that you need in order to apply thinking like the attacker and to develop the insight into your own data that you really need.